I'm not going to waste your time. If Harry Potter had been sent to Slytherin, the story you know would have never existed. Voldemort could have won, and the wizarding world would be unrecognizable. Today, we're going to explore together how the Harry Potter universe would have completely changed if the Sorting Hat had listened to its first intuition and sent Harry to the Slytherins. Get ready, because this scenario is going to turn everything you thought you knew upside down. You remember it, right? During the sorting ceremony, the Sorting Hat hesitated for a long time before placing Harry. It even whispered Slytherin several times. But Harry, influenced by his encounter with Draco Malfoy and Ron Weasley's warnings, begged, "Not Slytherin, not Slytherin," and the hat finally shouted, "Gryffindor." But imagine for a moment that Harry hadn't protested, that he had accepted the hat's initial choice, that he had joined the house of Salazar Slytherin, the very one from which his worst enemy came. How would the story have evolved? That's what we're going to discover together. September 1991, Harry Potter gets off the Hogwarts Express. Nervous and excited, he met Ron Weasley on the train, but their budding friendship is still fragile. During the sorting ceremony, the hat sits on his head and begins to think. Difficult. Very difficult. Plenty of courage, I see. Not a bad mind either. There's talent, oh yes, and a nice thirst to prove yourself. But where to put you? This time, Harry doesn't protest. Maybe he's simply too intimidated, or maybe he's curious to discover this mysterious house. The hat then shouts, "Slytherin!" A stunned silence falls over the Great Hall. The professors exchange worried looks. Dumbledore frowns. The Gryffindors are shocked. But at the Slytherin table, it's an explosion. Draco Malfoy displays a triumphant smile. The famous Harry Potter, the boy who lived, just joined their house. Harry sits at the green and silver table, still stunned by what just happened. Draco rushes toward him, suddenly much friendlier than during their first meeting at Madame Malkin's. "Potter, I knew you were one of us. True wizards recognize greatness. You'll see, Slytherin is the best house." Harry looks toward the Gryffindor table where Ron Weasley stares at him with a mixture of disappointment and mistrust. Hermione Granger, freshly sorted into Gryffindor, seems perplexed. Harry realizes then that his journey at Hogwarts will be very different from what he had imagined. In the Slytherin common room, hidden in the dungeons beneath the lake, Harry discovers a completely different environment. The cold stone walls, the windows looking out onto the greenish waters of the lake, the dark and mysterious atmosphere. His dormitory mates are Draco Malfoy, Theodore Nott, Blaise Zabini, and of course the massive Vincent Crabbe and Gregory Goyle. The first weeks are difficult. Harry must navigate an environment where ambition, cunning, and blood purity are valued. Draco constantly tries to impress him and gain his friendship, but he continues to despise Muggleborns and half-bloods. Harry, who grew up with the horrible Muggles that are the Dursleys, begins to develop a more nuanced vision of the wizarding world. Professor Snape, head of Slytherin House, treats Harry with particular attention. Instead of despising him as he would have at Gryffindor, he sees potential in him. Snape recognizes Lily Evans's traits in Harry's eyes, and it troubles him deeply. He becomes a demanding but present mentor for Harry. "Potter, you have potential. Don't waste it with arrogance like your father. At Slytherin, we value discipline and excellence." This relationship changes everything. Harry learns magic with more rigor. He excels in potions under Snape's attentive tutelage. He develops a more strategic approach to magic rather than the impulsiveness he would have cultivated at Gryffindor. But the real turning point comes with the troll incident. Hermione Granger is still stuck in the girls' bathroom crying after Ron insulted her. When the troll enters the castle, Harry hears the screams. Unlike the original story, Ron doesn't run to save Hermione. It's Harry who, guided by his protective instinct, rushes toward the bathroom. Draco follows him, not out of bravery, but because he doesn't want to leave Harry alone facing danger. Together, they save Hermione. This moment creates an unlikely bond between the three. Hermione, grateful, begins to see Harry differently. she realizes that the house doesn't define the person. This budding friendship disrupts the dynamics of Hogwarts. Harry Potter, a Slytherin, friends with Hermione Granger, a Muggle-born Gryffindor. It's unheard of. The other Slytherins, notably Draco, are divided. Some see it as a betrayal, others as proof of Harry's superiority, who can afford to choose his friends wherever he wants. The Philosopher's Stone affair unfolds differently. Harry, with his now sharpened Slytherin mind, notices the inconsistencies more quickly. He observes Snape closely and understands that his professor is trying to protect the stone, not steal it. When Harry discovers that Quirrell is possessed by Voldemort, he adopts a more calculated approach. Instead of rushing headlong, he informs Dumbledore of his suspicions. But Dumbledore, distrustful of a Harry Potter in Slytherin, doesn't take him entirely seriously. Harry must then act alone but differently. With the help of Hermione and surprisingly Draco, who begins to see Harry as a true leader, they devise a plan. They don't rush into Quirrell's trap. They develop a strategy, use more advanced spells, and finally Harry confronts Quirrell and Voldemort not through impulsive courage, but through thoughtful tactics. The final confrontation is different. Harry uses his Slytherin cunning to buy time, to destabilize Quirrell with words rather than direct actions. And when the moment comes, it's still his mother's love that protects him, but channeled differently. The second year radically changes the story. Harry Potter, now established as a respected Slytherin, hears the basilisk's voice in the walls. But this time, no one looks at him with suspicion when he mentions hearing voices. The Slytherins know the legends of the Chamber of Secrets. They know that only an heir of Slytherin can speak Parseltongue. When the attacks begin, suspicion naturally turns toward Harry, but Draco, now his loyal friend, defends him fiercely. Potter is not the heir. It's ridiculous. Harry himself is troubled. He can speak to snakes. He's in Slytherin. Could it be possible that he's linked to all this without knowing it? This introspection forces him to confront questions about his identity earlier than in the original timeline. When Ginny Weasley is possessed by Tom Riddle's diary, things get complicated. Ron, who isn't friends with Harry in this reality, is desperate. He must ask for help from the Slytherin he despises to save his sister. Harry accepts immediately. With Hermione, Draco, and even a reluctant Ron, they descend into the Chamber of Secrets. The confrontation with Tom Riddle is more complex. Riddle, seeing Harry in green and silver robes, is intrigued. "You're in Slytherin, Harry Potter. You could have been great. You can still be great. Join me." This temptation is stronger than in the original story. Harry, having spent 2 years in Slytherin, has developed a more pronounced ambition. He understands the allure of power. But it's his friendship with Hermione, a Muggle-born, that brings him back to reason. He realizes that greatness doesn't come from domination, but from protecting those you love. Harry destroys the diary, saves Ginny, and kills the basilisk. But this time, he keeps one of the basilisk's fangs, recognizing its potential value. It's a typically Slytherin move, planning for the future. Sirius Black's arrival changes everything. When Harry learns that a dangerous criminal wants his life, his Slytherin reaction is different. Instead of fear or recklessness, he becomes strategic. He learns to defend himself more seriously and pushes Lupin to teach him advanced spells earlier. The revelation that Sirius is his godfather and that he's innocent shakes Harry. But what's different is that Harry, with his analytical Slytherin mind, believes Sirius's story more easily. He recognizes the logic behind his arguments and doesn't have the anti-Slytherin prejudice that would have made him doubt in the original timeline. When it comes time to save Sirius, Harry orchestrates a more elaborate plan. With Hermione and the Time Turner, they don't just save Sirius and Buckbeak, they also eliminate evidence, create alibis, and manipulate the situation with Slytherin-worthy finesse. At the end of the year, Harry has not only saved his godfather, but he has also gained the respect of even the purest and hardest Slytherins. He has proven that you can be cunning, ambitious, and strategic while remaining fundamentally good. The Triwizard Tournament takes a very different turn. When Harry's name comes out of the Goblet of Fire, the reaction in Slytherin is mixed. Some, like Draco, support him fiercely. Others, jealous, think he cheated for glory. But Harry, now an accomplished Slytherin, uses this situation to his advantage. He forms strategic alliances. He studies obsessively for each task. He's not the brave Gryffindor who rushes headlong. He's the calculating Slytherin who plans every move. The first task with the dragons? Harry doesn't rely solely on an Accio. He prepares several backup plans, studies dragon behavior, and executes his strategy with surgical precision. For the second task, his Slytherin approach pushes him to interpret the riddle differently. We've taken what you'll sorely miss. Harry immediately realizes it's an emotional trap. He saves Hermione efficiently, but doesn't waste time with the other hostages, understanding that it's an individual trial. The third task and the maze become his playground. Harry, having perfected detection and protection spells, navigates the maze with formidable efficiency. When he reaches the cup with Cedric, he already has a bad feeling. Something's wrong, Cedric. It's too easy. But they touch the cup anyway. Portkey, Graveyard, Voldemort. The final confrontation of the fourth year is the defining moment. Voldemort, facing Harry Potter in Slytherin robes, is intrigued and troubled. You're in Slytherin, Harry. Salazar's house. My house. We could have been allies. We can still be allies. This time the temptation is immense. Harry has spent 4 years in Slytherin. He has developed ambition, a thirst for power, an understanding of dark magic. He understands the allure of what Voldemort offers, but it's precisely his experience at Slytherin that saves him. He has learned that you can be ambitious without being cruel, cunning without being evil, powerful without being corrupted. He has seen in Snape an example of someone who made the wrong choices and lives with regret. You're wrong, Voldemort. Slytherin doesn't mean following in your footsteps. It means being smart enough to stop you. The duel that follows is different. Harry, trained more intensively by Snape and by his own Slytherin determination, stands up to Voldemort more effectively. The priori incantatem still occurs, but Harry uses it strategically, buying time not only to escape, but also to gather information. He escapes with Cedric's body, but this time he has a plan. He knows Voldemort is back, and he knows he must prepare differently. The Triwizard Tournament takes a very different turn. When Harry's name comes out of the Goblet of Fire, the reaction in Slytherin is mixed. Some, like Draco, support him fiercely. Others, jealous, think he cheated for glory. But Harry, now an accomplished Slytherin, uses this situation to his advantage. He forms strategic alliances. He studies obsessively for each task. He's not the brave Gryffindor who rushes headlong. He's the calculating Slytherin who plans every move. The first task with the dragons? Harry doesn't rely solely on an Accio. He prepares several backup plans, studies dragon behavior, and executes his strategy with surgical precision. For the second task, his Slytherin approach pushes him to interpret the riddle differently. We've taken what you'll sorely miss. Harry immediately realizes it's an emotional trap. He saves Hermione efficiently but doesn't waste time with the other hostages, understanding that it's an individual trial. The third task and the maze become his playground. Harry, having perfected detection and protection spells, navigates the maze with formidable efficiency. When he reaches the cup with Cedric, he already has a bad feeling. Something's wrong, Cedric. It's too easy. But they touch the cup anyway. Portkey, Graveyard, Voldemort. The final confrontation of the fourth year is the defining moment. Voldemort, facing Harry Potter in Slytherin robes, is intrigued and troubled. You're in Slytherin, Harry. Salazar's house. My house. We could have been allies. We can still be allies. This time, the temptation is immense. Harry has spent 4 years in Slytherin. He has developed ambition, a thirst for power, an understanding of dark magic. He understands the allure of what Voldemort offers, but it's precisely his experience at Slytherin that saves him. He has learned that you can be ambitious without being cruel, cunning without being evil, powerful without being corrupted. He has seen in Snape an example of someone who made the wrong choices and lives with regret. You're wrong, Voldemort. Slytherin doesn't mean following in your footsteps, it means being smart enough to stop you. The duel that follows is different. Harry, trained more intensively by Snape and by his own Slytherin determination, stands up to Voldemort more effectively. The priori incantatem still occurs, but Harry uses it strategically, buying time not only to escape, but also to gather information. He escapes with Cedric's body, but this time he has a plan. He knows Voldemort is back, and he knows he must prepare differently. The fifth year is revolutionary. With Voldemort back and the Ministry in denial, Harry adopts a Slytherin approach to resistance. Instead of forming Dumbledore's army openly, he creates a more effective secret network. He strategically recruits across all houses, not just Gryffindor. Slytherins, Hufflepuffs, Ravenclaws, all united under his leadership. He teaches not only defense, but strategy, tactics, and espionage. Dolores Umbridge becomes his adversary, but Harry fights her differently. Instead of open rebellion, it's a shadow war. He uses regulations against her, manipulates situations, and creates scenarios where she discredits herself. The vision of Sirius being tortured at the Department of Mysteries still comes, but Harry, now more suspicious and strategic, checks first. He uses the two-way mirror that Sirius gave him, which he didn't neglect in this timeline. He discovers it's a trap. But instead of avoiding it, Harry does something bold and very Slytherin. He sets up a counter trap. With his network of students, he coordinates an operation to not only save the prophecy, but also expose the Death Eaters and prove Voldemort's return. The battle at the Department of Mysteries is better orchestrated. Harry has reinforcements, a plan, and an exit strategy. Sirius doesn't die in this timeline because Harry anticipated the danger and positioned his allies strategically. When Voldemort finally appears and Dumbledore arrives, the confrontation between the two most powerful wizards is witnessed by dozens of students and several Ministry employees. Voldemort's return can no longer be denied. The sixth year is fascinating because Harry discovers the Half-Blood Prince's book. But this time, instead of seeing it as a convenient cheat manual, Harry immediately recognizes the genius behind the annotations. As a Slytherin, excellent in potions under Snape's tutelage, he deeply appreciates the work. When he discovers that Snape is the Half-Blood Prince, instead of the betrayal felt in the original timeline, Harry feels admiration and curiosity. His relationship with Snape is complex, but based on mutual respect. The lessons with Dumbledore about Voldemort still take place, but Harry brings a Slytherin perspective to them. He better understands Voldemort's motivations, his choices, his mistakes. He sees how ambition without moral limits leads to destruction. The mission to retrieve the locket Horcrux is different. Harry, being more strategic, insists on bringing backup. Draco, now his close friend and ally, accompanies him with Dumbledore. This decision changes everything. When they discover the trap and Dumbledore drinks the potion, Harry and Draco work together to save him and fight the Inferi. They retrieve the locket, which is a fake, but they don't know it yet. The return to Hogwarts is the critical moment. Death Eaters have invaded the castle, led by Draco's father, Lucius Malfoy. Draco is torn. Harry sees his friend paralyzed between family loyalty and what he knows is right. Draco, you're not your father. You have a choice. Snape arrives, and the astronomy tower scene plays out, but this time, Harry, hidden under his cloak, immediately understands what's happening. He sees the pain in Snape's eyes. He recognizes the unbreakable vow. He realizes that Dumbledore orchestrated his own death. Instead of trying to intervene, Harry stays hidden and observes, understanding that there's a bigger plan at play. When Snape kills Dumbledore and flees with the Death Eaters, Harry doesn't pursue him with blind rage. He returns to the dying Dumbledore. Harry, you understood. Good. Severus, trust him. The Horcruxes. 7. You must destroy them. Dumbledore dies, but this time Harry has more information and a better understanding of the situation. In the 7th year, Harry does not return to Hogwarts. With Hermione and in this timeline also Draco, they set off to hunt Horcruxes. Ron finally joins them, putting aside his prejudices against Slytherins in the face of Voldemort's threat. Their Horcrux hunt is more efficient. Harry, with his Slytherin mind, has planned methodically. He has lists, strategies, and backup plans. They do not camp randomly, hoping to find clues. The locket is destroyed more quickly. Hufflepuff's cup is located thanks to Draco's connections in the pure-blood wizarding world. Ravenclaw's diadem is found with the help of Hermione's contacts at Hogwarts. When Harry discovers he is a Horcrux himself, his Slytherin reaction is calculated. Instead of the impulsive sacrifice in the forest, he plans. He looks for alternatives, ways to destroy the Horcrux in him without dying. It is Snape who provides the answer. In a secret confrontation before the final battle, Snape reveals everything to Harry. His love for Lily, his role as a spy, Dumbledore's plan, and most importantly, a theory on how Harry could survive the Horcrux's destruction. You are a Slytherin, Potter. Use your cunning. When you face the Dark Lord, let him strike you. But at the last moment, use your mother's love as an anchor. She will protect you one last time. The Battle of Hogwarts is epic but different. Harry leads his forces with military strategy. The four houses are united under his command. Even the Slytherins fight against Voldemort, inspired by Harry, who proved you can be ambitious for good. The final confrontation in the forest goes as planned. Harry sacrifices himself, but with the knowledge and preparation of a Slytherin. When Voldemort strikes him with Avada Kedavra, Harry survives. The Horcrux is destroyed, but he remains anchored to life. The final duel in the Great Hall is different. Harry doesn't immediately reveal he's alive. He waits for the perfect moment, like a true Slytherin. When Voldemort believes he has won, when he's most vulnerable in his arrogance, Harry reveals himself. The duel that follows isn't just a battle of wands, it's a battle of ideologies. Harry, the Slytherin who chose good, against Voldemort, the Slytherin who chose evil. You're wrong, Tom. Slytherin doesn't mean cruelty, it means intelligence. And I was smart enough to realize that true power comes from love, from friendship, from unity, not from fear. The final spell, Expelliarmus against Avada Kedavra. But this time, Harry is supported by love, friendship, and the power of all houses united. The Elder Wand recognizes its true master. Voldemort falls, definitively defeated. 19 years after the Battle of Hogwarts, King's Cross Station is bustling as always. Harry Potter, now an adult and head of the Department of Magical Law Enforcement, accompanies his children to Platform 9 3/4. By his side is Ginny Weasley, whom he eventually married despite the initial complications of their story. Their children, James, Albus, and Lily, are preparing to board the Hogwarts Express. Albus, the youngest son, is nervous. Dad, what if I'm sent to Slytherin? Harry kneels before his son, a smile on his lips. Albus Severus, you bear the names of two of the greatest wizards I've known. One was in Gryffindor, the other in Slytherin. And you know what? They were both extraordinary. He looks his son in the eyes. I'm a Slytherin myself, Al, and I'm proud of it. Slytherin taught me to be strategic, ambitious, to fight intelligently, but most of all, I learned there that you can use these qualities for good. Hermione Granger, now Minister of Magic, and Ron Weasley, manager of Weasley's Wizard Wheezes, arrive with their own children. Draco Malfoy, who became an influential reformer of the wizarding world, joins them with his son, Scorpius. The three men, former rivals who became friends through trials, smile at each other. A Slytherin, a Gryffindor, and another Slytherin united in friendship. Ready for a new generation at Hogwarts? Asks Draco. Harry smiles. Always. And this time maybe they won't have to choose between houses. Maybe they'll understand from the beginning that we're all on the same side. The Hogwarts Express whistles. The children bored, excited, and nervous. Albus turns one last time toward his father. "Dad, if I go to Slytherin, I'll do my best, like you." Harry nods, tears in his eyes. "I know you will, son. Whatever your house, remember, it is our choices that show what we truly are, far more than our abilities." The train pulls away, taking a new generation toward Hogwarts. Harry watches the train disappear, thinking about his own journey, a journey that proved that a Slytherin can be a hero, that a house doesn't define a person, that ambition and cunning, guided by love and morality, can change the world. In this alternate reality, Harry Potter, the Slytherin who saved the world, not only defeated Voldemort, but also broke the centuries-old prejudices between Hogwarts houses. He proved that true magic isn't in the house you choose, but in the choices you make once you're there. And that's perhaps the greatest lesson of all. There you have it. I hope you enjoyed this alternate scenario. It's fascinating to see how a simple change at the beginning can completely transform the entire story. If you liked this video, don't forget to subscribe to What If Chronicles for more exciting alternate scenarios. Tell me in the comments, which house would you have wanted to be in, and what other what if Harry Potter scenario would you like to explore? Thanks for watching.